What's up, traders? This is Ace Bookie coming to you live and direct once again. Another video recap. Today, it's going over this SRNE play. We were shorting this one on the first red day, which is a pattern that we all know and love. Very familiar setup. And right here is the daily chart. You see SRNE is up big from the 160s all the way up to the, touch 350 in one day, which is a huge move, 130% to be precise. So, you know, it was going too far, going too fast. The news wasn't that, big of a deal. Let's pull up the news just so you can see what I'm talking about. Hang on a second. But they basically had news that somebody had offered to buy their company out for, X amount of dollars, but they declined that offer. So, that shows some posture saying that you don't need your money, but it doesn't warrant the stock going up 130%. So as you can see, here's the daily chart from FinViz. When you pull that up, you see the big move that happened yesterday or the day before yesterday. And it basically spiked all the way up to fill this gap right into this, resistance area from where it gapped down previously in July. So, right there is telling me that, hey, it stopped at 350 for a reason. Whole dollar, half dollar is a magnet area. It's an area where, resistance usually comes in. So because it got stopped underneath there and you see all this resistance back here, I felt safe, shorting on that first red day because the upside potential was limited compared to the downside potential from where it came from. It is a larger float stock, so it has 110 shares in the actual the public float. So, not a low float runner. It's going to take a good deal of volume to move this. And going back to the chart, it had over 70 million volume on the day that it had this big run up. But going down to the news. Okay, so where was it? Here it is. They basically rejected an all cash takeover proposal. So they offered between $3 and $5 a share outstanding. They said, no, we're good. And then their stock price jumped. So it seems like a temporary catalyst, which is the reason why I was shorting, betting that the stock was going to go back down. So here's a daily chart. You see I was shorting on the first red day and I actually covered today. Decent covers this morning. So pulling up the 5-minute chart, let's look at some intraday action. Here's the day. Here's the first red day right here, and here's the day I'm covering. So on this day, it opened up red. It basically, never went green on the day at all. 325 was the red green area, and from the jump, it basically, uh, closed. It cracked 325 and came down. So when it came down for 325, I saw this in the pre-market, and when it spiked back up, it made a high at 311. So I had 311 as a key area of resistance in my head because that's the next lowest high from the red green area. So 311 was key area and 325 was a key area because of it being the red green area. So I was watching it. You see at the 8 o'clock pre-market candle, it popped back up to 325 and then came back down. But as you can see, on this 5 minute chart, it never really broke over 311, um, which was pretty cool. I shorted I shorted some in the pre-market, and then I shorted some more and at the market open. So let's zoom in a little bit. So I didn't have the best short entries. I wanted to short into a spike, close to three or above three. I did have an order waiting to be executed at 311 that never got filled, but I shorted into this push right here, up to through three at 296, and then I shorted some more. I kind of chased the short because it looked like it was going to crack the way the volume came in, the selling volume. I chased the short down at 292. Once I realized I was wrong about chasing the short, I added it again on the bounce, and I think I added at 297. So all in all, I had like a 294 average position right in here. Um, so once I saw breaking under this 294 area, 293 area right here, I felt like it was a decent position for now. And like I said, I had a order to add at 311 when it spiked up at the open, but never got filled. So 311 was never breached. So that resistance area that I was holding as risk was perfect for the day. It had weakening sideways price action, so you can see after it spiked up to that almost 311 area, you know each high was perpetually lower, and the lows were getting lower, and the volume was depleting. So whenever you see sideways price action on the first red day that shows no sign of strength, it's good to kind of stay patient with it, especially if you see that the highs, are getting lower perpetually. So 325 down to 311, down to 303, 304 area right here. One thing I was concerned about was it was making a decent bottom at 280, the 280, 285 area. So it bottomed out there once, twice, three times, and then it started holding a little bit of higher lows at the 290s. So that was making me a little bit uneasy, but I held this 311 resistance area in my head, and I kept looking at the big picture. That's what's going to keep you patient, looking at the overall big picture, and don't get too sucked into the right now 1 minute chart. So moving into today, this morning, it was right at that 296 area for a while, between 296 and 285. So, at first it wasn't breaking down. It was well past 8 o'clock before it even broke under 285. So once it touched 285, I wanted to lighten up on some of my positions. So I bought back, 400 shares here. I had 1,200 shares total. So I bought back a third of my position right here. And then when the market opened, I saw that, this 294 area was holding as resistance from back here. So whenever it spiked up to that area, it came down off of that, and I basically, covered into weakness right on the morning panic. So one thing about SRNE is it had a nice morning panic dip buy opportunity as well. It got all the way down to 252 and bounced all the way up to 291. So you can make 41 cents a share, or 38 cents a share off of that, which would have been decent. 14% of potential upside. So that was the play on SRNE. Nothing crazy. Didn't have a crazy big position. Made 250 off of it. On to the next one. Right now, you can see it's making perpetually lower highs again. So there may be more downside after this bounce, dries up. So I don't. I'm not going to play it again. I think I'm done with it. But there is possibly some more potential. So just going back to the daily chart again, just to show you what the daily looks like. Had a big green move. It wasn't a low float stock. Had a huge volume. The next day the volume was less than half. and the momentum was to the back side of the move. So always short on the back side of the move, always cover into weakness, and you'll be all right. That's all I got for you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the chat room or leave a comment on the video. Ace Boogie out.